residence by security agents. Mr. President, the Senate notes that on the 29th of October 2021, in the late evening, security operatives invaded the home of a judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Mary-Odili. The Senate also notes that Justice Mary-Odili is the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria. Mr. President, the Senate is aware that a joint panel recovery unit of the Ministry of Justice, comprising of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, the Nigerian Police, and the Ministry of Justice, purportedly sought for a search warrant from an FCT magistrate after a so-called whistleblower claimed to have observed illegal activities allegedly going on in a house on Imo Street on Maitama. Mr. President, the Senate is worried that this incident brings back to mind the similar invasion of homes of some senior judicial officers, including 2 judges of the Supreme Court and judges of the Federal High Court in Abuja and other parts of the country in October 2026, which was widely condemned. Further worried that the home of such a highly revered judicial officer could be raided in such a manner by security agents. The Senate is disturbed that 11 days after the incident, though the Inspector General of Police claims some arrests have been made and investigations are still going on, details of such arrests have not been made public. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to condemn the invasion of the home of the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria, Justice Mrs. Mary-Odili, JSC CFR. Secondly, we commend the Inspector General of Police for the arrest already made and investigation panel he has instituted. And then thirdly, we urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigations within 2 weeks. I so move.
Hearing the news of what happened. And I want to say that the motion as presented represents the collective desire of all of us as elected parliamentarians in ensuring that the government takes appropriate steps that will not only ensure that those who might be found culpable are brought to book, but also in sending a very clear signal to everyone out there that there is a need for us to continue to, of course, respect the sanctity of the judiciary and the need to continue to also protect our judicial officers like every other Nigerian whose rights under the law deserve to be protected and whose life should be held sacred. Mr. President, I second the motion and I urge all our colleagues, like I know every one of you is in support of this, to allow the prayers to be answered. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator George Thompson, Secretary.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I am Senator George Thompson Sekivo. I represent the Rivers East Central District. Mr. President, apparently the mover of the motion and the chairman of the Committee on Judiciary has done justice to the motion, but it is just good that I lend my voice to what they have said. Mr. President, a couple of months ago, Justice Mary-Odili's residence in Port-Harcourt was also invaded. Several reasons were given why thugs invaded the house. I don't want to mention the reasons that does not bring in controversy. Now, recently, as the motion said, again, the house in Abuja was also invaded. And then, after a struggle, the people who invaded the security agents that invaded the place left the residence. They claim to have brought a warrant from a magistrate court in Abuja. They claim the Minister for Justice was aware of it. There were several claims. But I thank God for one thing now, that's to say, The Minister for Justice has denied and dissociated himself from that. The Chairman of EFCC has also done that. And I read statement made by the Inspector General of Police that he has done some arrests and that they are investigating the matter. My problem is this. Oftentimes things happen and then police will investigate. And in most cases, we hear investigating, but we don't get the result of the investigation. And I pray that this investigation comes to limelight. But the most important thing in the vision is this. Mr. President, fear is one of the causes of death, of early death. And one of the causes of fear is intimidation. If you intimidate somebody who is giving a responsibility, and the person is under intimidation, that person's efficiency will be reduced. The effectiveness will be reduced. The courage and boldness to do the work will also be dampened. And of course, fear gives us a blood pressure. Blood pressure will give us a heart attack. Heart attack will come back by stroke, and then either maim the person or kill the person. So I want to plead that, Mr. President, see the IG of police said they are already carrying out an investigation. And as the prayer said, let them make that investigation public within this period specified in the motion, so that Nigerians will know the actual cause of these invasions, not once, at least twice. And let us also pray that this intimidation does not create unnecessary fear in Justice Peter-Odili and other Supreme Court justices and other judges. And let us also pray that it does not also give out to blood pressure and heart attack. I think the Senate has the power to be sure that the prayers in the motion are enforced. Thank you, Mr. Senate President.
Prayer 1. Condemn the invasion of the home of the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria, Justice Mrs. Mary Odili, JSC CFR. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, commend the Inspector General of Police for the arrests already made and the investigative panel he has instituted. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigation within 2 weeks. No, I have an observation here. The Inspector General of Police, you commended him for setting up the judicial panel, the investigative panel. I think we should allow him to carry out his job. If you say 2 weeks, you don't know what time he requires. It may be less than 2 weeks. It may be a little bit more than 2 weeks, but all we need is a thorough investigation. So I believe that we don't need to add within 2 weeks, because we didn't set up that judicial panel of inquiry ourselves. Investigative panel of inquiry. I don't know if you want that, or if you insist, we leave it as it is.